In this shocking episode of The Wealth Prophets, Balaji, the former CTO of Coinbase, is doing a shocking revelation about the history of finance.
Probably several Gartner hype cycles that are going to continue to happen. There's, even an earlier boom and bust, and then, people wrote it off as dead. And Wired wrote an article on the fall of Bitcoin, and then it came back in 2013.
Balaji, who predicted the COVID pandemic, the tech crash, and the financial crisis, is now warning us about a financial apocalypse that it can reshape the entire financial system. And most importantly, everything we thought we knew about money.
No, I mean, it's one of these things where, Dogecoin is meant to be sort of fun and a meme. It's kind of like, the internet can be used for sending silly memes, but also for serious business at the same time. And crypto is like a financial internet. So you can trade meme stocks or meme coins on it, but also send real things.
But what can destroy the US dollars? From his perspective, it's about hyperinflation. Balaji Srinivasan just made the most terrifying economic prediction in human history and bet $1 million that hyperinflation will destroy the US dollar within 90 days. The former Coinbase CTO who predicted the COVID pandemic, the tech crash, and the banking crisis just issued a warning so apocalyptic that it will change everything you thought you knew about money. But here's the insane part. Balaji isn't just predicting hyperinflation, he's revealing the exact timeline for the complete collapse of the US economy and why Bitcoin is humanity's only escape from financial Armageddon. This is Balaji Srinivasan, the man who predicted COVID in January 2020, warned about the tech bubble in 2021, and called the banking crisis in 2022. When Balaji makes predictions, they come true with terrifying accuracy. But I've never seen Balaji this panicked before. He's not just making predictions, he's screaming warnings about an economic collapse so severe that it will make the Great Depression look like a minor recession. Balaji has liquidated his entire stock portfolio, converted everything to Bitcoin, and is telling everyone who will listen, the dollar is about to become worthless. If you don't own Bitcoin, you will lose everything. In this video, I'm going to reveal Balaji's complete hyperinflation timeline, expose the government policies that are triggering the collapse, and show you exactly how to protect yourself from the economic apocalypse that's coming. But I'm warning you, what Balaji told me about the coming hyperinflation will either save your financial life or terrify you into immediate action. This isn't just economic analysis, this is survival information. If you want to survive the economic collapse that Balaji says is starting right now, smash that like button and prepare for the most terrifying financial revelation of your life. Let's talk about the $1 million hyperinflation bet. Here is the apocalyptic bet revealed. Here's the bet that shocked the financial world. Balaji publicly wagered $1 million that Bitcoin will hit $1 million within 90 days due to hyperinflation. This isn't just a prediction, it's a survival warning. Balaji's exact words, I'm betting $1 million that the US will experience hyperinflation within 90 days. Bitcoin will hit $1 million, not because it's going up, but because the dollar is going to zero. For Bitcoin to hit $1 million in 90 days, it would need to increase 25x from current levels. But Balaji isn't predicting Bitcoin growth, he's predicting dollar collapse. Balaji's bet is based on historical hyperinflation patterns. Germany 1923, Zimbabwe 2008, Venezuela 2018. In each case, the currency became worthless in months, not years. Balaji didn't just make a bet. He provided a detailed timeline for how hyperinflation will destroy the US economy, and the timeline is terrifying. Phase 1. Banking crisis accelerates, regional banks collapse, depositor panic spreads. Phase 2. Federal Reserve prints trillions to prevent bank runs, inflation explodes. Phase 3. Hyperinflation begins, dollar loses 90% plus of value, Bitcoin becomes safe haven. Balaji's trigger events. More bank failures like SVB and Credit Suisse, emergency Fed money printing to prevent bank runs, international dollar rejection as countries flee to Bitcoin. The most terrifying part, Balaji says we're already in phase 1. The banking crisis has started, the Fed is printing money, and the hyperinflation countdown has begun. Now let's analyze the mathematical proof of collapse. Balaji's hyperinflation prediction isn't based on emotion, it's based on mathematical certainty that the current system is unsustainable and must collapse. The math is terrifying. US debt is $33 trillion and growing $1 trillion every 100 days. Interest payments alone are $1 trillion annually. The government must print money to pay its debts, causing inflation. Now we understand better why Elon Musk was so pissed off. Balaji's calculation. At current debt growth rates, the US will need to print 10 to 20 trillion annually by 2025 just to service debt. This level of money printing guarantees hyperinflation. Balaji's exact words: the math doesn't lie. The US government is mathematically bankrupt. They can either default on the debt or print money to pay it. They'll choose to print, which means hyperinflation is inevitable. But what is the government conspiracy to hide inflation and the inflation manipulation scandal? Now I'm going to reveal the most shocking part of Balaji's analysis. The government has been systematically lying about inflation rates to hide the fact that hyperinflation has already begun. Balaji discovered that the government has changed inflation calculations 20 plus times since 1980, always in ways that reduce the reported inflation rate. Real inflation is 3 to the 5x higher than official numbers. Government inflation tricks, substitution bias, replacing expensive items with cheap ones, hedonic adjustments, claiming products are better so price increases don't count, and geometric weighting, reducing the impact of rising prices. Using the original 1980 calculation method, current inflation is 15 to 20%, not the reported 3 to 5%. The government is lying to prevent panic while hyperinflation destroys purchasing power. Balaji revealed the shocking truth about Federal Reserve money printing. They're addicted to creating money and can't stop without crashing the entire economy. Since 2008, the Fed has printed over 8 trillion, more money than existed in the entire US economy before 2008. This isn't monetary policy, it's monetary insanity. The Fed's addiction cycle: print money to solve crisis, create bigger crisis, print more money to solve bigger crisis. Each intervention requires more money printing than the last. Balaji's analysis: the Fed is trapped. They can't stop printing without crashing markets, but they can't keep printing without causing hyperinflation. They've chosen hyperinflation. Now, what if we are facing an international dollar rejection? Here's the most terrifying part of Balaji's analysis. Countries around the world are secretly coordinating to abandon the US dollar, which will trigger immediate hyperinflation. China, Russia, India, and Saudi Arabia are building alternative payment systems to bypass the dollar. When they succeed, demand for dollars will collapse, causing instant hyperinflation. Balaji's intelligence sources reveal secret meetings between BRICS countries to coordinate dollar abandonment. The timeline: complete dollar bypass systems operational during 2025. When countries stop using dollars for trade, trillions of dollars will flood back to the US, causing the most severe hyperinflation in human history. Balaji says it's not if, it's when. This brings us to think maybe Bitcoin will be the only escape. So let's analyze the Bitcoin hyperinflation hedge theory. Here's why Balaji is betting everything on Bitcoin. It's the only asset that can protect wealth during hyperinflation because it's completely outside government control. During hyperinflation, all government-controlled assets become worthless. Stocks priced in worthless currency, bonds paid back in worthless currency, real estate taxed in worthless currency, gold can be confiscated. Bitcoin's hyperinflation advantages: fixed supply can't be inflated, global access can't be confiscated, digital portability can't be physically seized, decentralized control can't be shut down. Balaji's evidence: Bitcoin gained 1,000% plus during Turkey's currency crisis, 500% plus during Argentina's inflation, 300% plus during Lebanon's collapse. Bitcoin thrives when currencies die, but Balaji's Bitcoin strategy goes beyond just buying Bitcoin. He's building network states that operate entirely on Bitcoin and are immune to government currency manipulation. Network states are digital communities that use Bitcoin as their currency, operate across borders, and provide services without government involvement. They're escape pods from failing nation-states. Balaji is funding Bitcoin-only communities in El Salvador, Portugal, and Singapore, where people can live entirely on Bitcoin without exposure to failing fiat currencies. The goal? Create parallel economies that survive hyperinflation while government-dependent economies collapse. Balaji calls it the great escape from fiat hell. Here we go, the Bitcoin $1 million math. Here's the shocking math behind Balaji's $1 million Bitcoin prediction. It's not about Bitcoin going up, it's about the dollar going down. Balaji's calculation. If the dollar loses 95% of its value, typical hyperinflation, Bitcoin doesn't need to gain value. It just needs to maintain purchasing power while the dollar collapses. Current Bitcoin price, $40,000. If dollar loses 95% value, Bitcoin needs to hit $800,000 just to maintain purchasing power. $1 million represents only modest real gains. Balaji's exact words, Bitcoin at $1 million during hyperinflation isn't Bitcoin getting expensive. It's the dollar becoming worthless. Bitcoin becomes the measuring stick for real value. So let's review how to survive the hyperinflation apocalypse in case it really happens. I will call it the emergency Bitcoin strategy. Based on Balaji's hyperinflation timeline, here's exactly what you need to do right now to protect yourself from the economic apocalypse that's coming. Let me show you an emergency preparation steps and Bitcoin acquisition strategies. Step 1, immediate Bitcoin conversion. Balaji recommends converting 50-90% of liquid assets to Bitcoin within 30 days. Don't wait for confirmation. The collapse is already starting, he said. Remember, you are your own boss. What I do on this channel through those videos is to save you time and years or expertise in the financial world. You get benefit from our experiences and knowledge, but at the end of the day, no one can predict the future and much less about controlling it. However, as grown men and women, you have to become financially independent as soon as possible, and this includes being bulletproof to crisis and major collapses. I wish I could know that and be more prepared for September 11th terrorism attack and the 2008 crisis. So think about all of that and ask to your advisors, what are the best options for you? I am not recommending you do to anything except learning and get stronger for your financial independence. Step 2, self-custody Bitcoin storage. Get Bitcoin off exchanges and into hardware wallets. During hyperinflation, governments will seize exchange assets to fund their collapse. Step 3, international Bitcoin access. Set up Bitcoin wallets and exchanges in multiple countries. When your home country collapses, you need escape routes. Believe it or not, this is a wise advice. Diversification is key. Beyond Bitcoin, here's Balaji's complete survival kit for navigating hyperinflation and economic collapse. Here is the hyperinflation survival kit. Physical preparation, 3 to 6 months of food and water, backup power systems, cash for immediate needs, precious metals for barter, essential medications and supplies. Digital preparation, multiple Bitcoin wallets, VPN access, encrypted communications, offline Bitcoin storage, international banking relationships. Balaji's advice. Hyperinflation isn't just currency collapse, it's social collapse. Prepare for supply chain disruptions, civil unrest, and government desperation. Finally, here's Balaji's ultimate escape plan. Migrating to network states and Bitcoin-friendly countries before hyperinflation destroys your home country. Target destinations: El Salvador, Bitcoin legal tender, Portugal, crypto-friendly taxes, Singapore, regulatory clarity, Switzerland, crypto banking, Dubai, crypto hub, just to name a few. Migration timeline. Research and prepare is around 30 days. Establish foreign accounts may take 60 days. Physical relocation of having options to move fast will take from 90 days to 120 days. The window is closing fast. Balaji's final warning. The hyperinflation collapse will happen faster than people expect. Those who prepare will survive and thrive. Those who don't will lose everything. Let me tell you what I think about this apocalyptic summary. We have to be clear. Balaji Srinivasan, who has predicted every major crisis of the past decade, is betting $1 million that hyperinflation will destroy the US dollar within 90 days. The government is lying about inflation, the Fed is trapped in money printing addiction, and countries are abandoning the dollar. The economic apocalypse isn't coming, it's here. Technically, you have maybe 30-60 days to convert your wealth to Bitcoin and prepare for hyperinflation before it's too late. This isn't investment advice. This is survival information. Personally, I do not share fully the Balaji apocalyptic vision, but I have to admit that something is going on there. We can feel it, and it feels that we have reasons to worry, so to be prepared one way or another will be always a smart move. This is why I believe in diversification more than anything else. So what you must do right now, I cannot tell you that. Remember, my channel is about education, not predictions. I want you to be the strongest version of yourself, and this in a minimum time frame. I am just a coach. I know if you follow my videos, you will become stronger mentally and financially. But I cannot predict the future and tell you what to do. If Balaji's hyperinflation warning has opened your eyes to the economic apocalypse, you need to share this video with everyone you know before the collapse destroys their wealth. Click that like button, destroy that subscribe button, and share this everywhere, because this information could save millions of people from financial destruction. And tell me in the comments what you are really thinking. Are you converting to Bitcoin now, or are you going to take the risk until hyperinflation destroys your savings? The collapse or the evolution is starting whether you believe it or not. Thanks for watching, and remember, when hyperinflation destroys the dollar and Bitcoin hits $1 million, don't say Balaji didn't warn you. The apocalypse is here in the meantime. Enjoy life and be happy.
So I'm going to talk about when Bitcoin wins, not if, but when. And when Bitcoin wins, actually, the battle begins. Control banking licenses, and they can freeze and seize funds, and of course, they can print money. And Bitcoin exists outside the Fed's video.
That simple, buy Bitcoin or buy Litecoin or what have you button. Actually, there's a lot of stuff happening under the hood. And the complexity of it.
Or something, right? This is something where every regular in the world is kind of after, or at least in the U.S., is after Bitcoin now. The other thing is that in terms of the fundamental